Have you ever considered what your food costs? I don't mean the amount of money, I mean the resources that were used and the impact that it has on the planet. My name is Harriet from Glasgow Science Centre. We've teamed up with Zero Waste Scotland to take you along the journey of your food, from farm to fork, to really understand the impact of the food we throw away. The climate crisis is reaching a critical point. Global temperatures are rising drastically due to the accumulation of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Food production and consumption accounts for approximately 26% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Of course, we all need to eat to live, but we can look at how our food is produced, what we eat, and crucially, what we waste. The stats are staggering. If global food waste were a country, it would be the third largest global emitter of greenhouse gases after China and the USA. Scottish households throw away around 600,000 tonnes of food waste a year. That's about the weight of 2,000 Kelpie statues, and a large portion of that is still edible. We're talking about fruit, veg, loaves of bread, and leftovers from dinner. When food goes to landfill, it rots and produces methane, a powerful greenhouse gas that's more harmful to our planet than carbon dioxide. But wasting food can be avoided. The Scottish Government has set an ambitious target for food waste reduction, aiming for a 33% reduction by 2025. Achieving this would be equivalent to taking 1 in 5 cars off of Scotland's roads for a year. If we all make small changes to the way we think about food, we could save some money and reduce the global greenhouse gas emissions caused by humans by about 6 to 8%. When we waste food, we waste our hard-earned cash, as well as wasting all of the energy and resources that went into that food. It's burning money and the planet. So let's break down the carbon cost of our food. Food production and consumption accounts for approximately 26% of global greenhouse gas emissions. If we take a look into where these emissions are coming from, we have about 24% from land use, which might include processes like deforestation. 27% comes from crop production, 31% is from livestock and fish farms, and 18% from the supply chain. Half of the world's habitable land is used for food production. 94% of animals on our planet are being bred as livestock to provide labor and commodities such as meat, eggs, or milk. Livestock outnumbers humans 15 to 1, and animal agriculture is a direct threat to the 24,000 species who are at risk of extinction. We have created a system where we feed animals before ourselves and sacrifice all other animals in the process. It takes up most of the world's agricultural land and only produces 18% of the world's calories. We can't afford to be wasting any of the products we get from this system, and should prioritize low-carbon, healthy, plant-based foods. Now we have talked about growing our food, let's talk about how it gets onto our plate. Food processing accounts for 4% of the emissions associated with food production. Packaging is associated with 5% of all the greenhouse gases associated with food, and transport accounts for 6% of emissions. These are a relatively small portion of the emissions associated with food production. While transport is something we should all consider, it's a small part of a much larger problem, and we need to think of the whole journey. To make the biggest impact in reducing emissions associated with food that you eat, you should consider what you eat and how it's grown, rather than just how it travels to you. The food that is lost on the journey to our plates, is out of date in supermarkets, or is thrown away in our homes is known as food waste. Popping your food scraps, leftovers, or throwing out an unused bag of salad in the bin seems like a small action, but it can have a big impact. It's estimated that 1/3 of all the food we produce around the world is going to waste. We're not just wasting food, it's all the resources that go into growing, processing, and transporting that food. If the food waste ends up in a landfill, it can release methane. If we all made small changes like planning out our meals carefully, saving our leftovers and freezing food before it goes off, we can reduce about 6 to 8% of the total human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. So join us in the fight against food waste. Visit Love Food Hate Waste Scotland for tips, recipes, and more food waste facts.